You have that perfection. Says the round hairline, and okay, so he got the round hairline and everything all perfect. What it is, what it is. There was no mustache, no hair on the face, whichever deemed perfect. And this man, no body fat, all perfect, even handed, all these perfect things, just the man perfect. And even if it wasn't as dark, quote unquote, African American complexion, dark tan, which will get into photosynthesis, is categorized into different ethnicities. Because you light tan, and then you're lighter, that vanilla like tan, but it's all tan, it's the complexion. I mean, it isn't without the pigment. No matter how extent we get in temperature, it's only going to create that circle. It's only going to get so light, and then it'll start back, you know, 10, which is a scale, you know what I'm saying? But so you had this fitness and the same fitness, and you had a mythical expression of health science that's saying, like, you can't be some health, because they'll tell you something like, you can unmagnetize magnetic energy. So you can't, but you really can't. Scientifically, you really can't. It's a scientific fact. So that'll mean people don't dissolve. So electronic temperament, you won't want someone to try to masquerade you and make you appear to dissolve. Even if they do, it could be proven that you can't, though. Right, you really can't. So that's the most important thing. If you can't, and it's real bad if someone like would get this kind of equipment and try to masquerade you to do so, which will bring why. It makes no sense. There's only so many reasons that a person could appear to do so, because if it isn't psychological normality, then you have to give them their clemency. It isn't really what they're doing. They could be categorized as being sick. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't just do things. You do the right thing. If you don't do something right, that means psychologically you're off the psychological normal pattern of a person. You know what I'm saying? And you don't really get off it in the scale of human fitness. You really don't get off it. But if someone has equipment bothering that, making you to appear to do psychological things, well, non-psychological things on that sort of interest, as along to making you appear to do anything you don't really do or are not really doing, which is a crime. You know what I'm saying? It's just a crime. So going back to the real celestial identity. So if it's a real solar system, celestial identity, and this is a mythical expression of a solar system, this one right here, and we can prove that and sit down and go over all the facts. Humans can dissolve, this, that, or other. Life could have only started a small an amount of time ago that could never be supported, or could never have the support of historical um, historical time that we have in mythical educational although it's very important for a student to complete their high school. Even if this is a mythical expression of a solar system, and what you're learning is only a mythical expression of an education, you still should get it and achieve your diploma, because that's the right thing to do. Psychological, that's right. Psychologically, that's a hands down, get that piece of paper and keep your fluency, get all your theory, know that even if it's other things that's hierarchy to learn on the side, that's different. You want no might to it, you want to complete your classes, you want to get your diploma, no doubt. So going back to, if this is a mythical expression of a solar system and everything, going back to us being able to legislate that one day, just off the facts of that, and us having the intellectual reality to do so, not appearing to none understand that about reality, or this mythical expression of a reality, or of a solar system. I mean, just here, because with certain equipment it could be done. We all would be like, appearing to think something else. But you get back to the kind of person who does that, who'd appear to do that. You know what I'm saying? Won't be right, So, and then I mean, it's real, and it brings you to something called a continuum. And what I'm saying, like, to accountate everything. When you accountate everything, as far as materialistic, photogenic materialistic reality, things have a psychological accountation, because it has photogenic manual scheme expression qualities about it, qualities, characteristics about it, which should be an ordinate, which should be maintained as an ordinate. It should be an ordinate to keep these things honest and maintained after, from like, obvious government, a government categorical thing. It should be it should be a characteristic in realistic government. You know what I'm saying? Not a mythical expression of a government. If this is a mythical expression of a solar system, you have mythical expression of a medical reality, mythical expression of an education system, mythical expression of a judicial system, so mythical expression of an authority. So, it's just because it's mythical historical facts, it's all an electronic temperament, going back to what I was saying. But the continuum, being that you accountate these things, it's a space and time. You'd say, well, hey, it isn't even really going on. That don't mean that it vanishes. Or, someone can just say, okay, walk over, this is a mythical expression, and try to, do something to you, or, miscount it, or do anything improperly, because this is a mythical expression of a solar system. I mean, if we was in the real expression of a solar system, and I went outside of the parameters and made a mythical expression of a solar system and took somebody to it, that don't mean it wasn't a real mythical expression of a solar system. For me to come to you and try to do something, you know what I'm saying, improperly, because that's just like making a toy car. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's not a real car, that don't mean it's not a toy car. So what, I can walk up to you, yeah, this is a toy car. This is a toy car, and I don't know what, take it from you. This isn't a real car, right? That wouldn't be right. That's what I'm saying. So it's not to come bother you in the wrong way, behind the fact that this was a mythical expression of a solar system. Okay, there's no need to panic. You know what I'm saying? Because if there's anything a human could do, is exist, right? And he really can, no matter what. As sure as the solar system could grow. That's what you have to look at: magnetic energy. Something that has magnetic energy, like a plant has magnetic energy. But yeah, a plant isn't a human, though. That human characteristic that makes the energetic characteristic that make a human. So if you're looking at real expression of a solar system and how it could have only been, you have a man, you have a woman. You have a man won't evolve from a woman, so an animal isn't the concept. What about food that could be made from electromagnetic energy? In like a refinery, like a factory that makes things. Electromagnetic energy, you can make like a piece of metal with the right temperatures, bringing them together and then getting warm, and it'll form a geometry. The temperature, it'll maintain in the geometry, and then it'll turn to different textures. Metal, it can turn to gold, and then you have to look at the texture of food, the real texture of food. Just think about it at that. If animals weren't real conceptual things of a human, which would be the only person who made reality, or his energy, as far as a human, and electromagnetic energy, you about to go out and try to find some etheric entity, and give it credit for being an entity outside of the human electromagnetic entity or etheric entity, which is an intellectual, thoughtful entity, but it's a chemistry within of a cardinal being, which is that human. So to look at, please don't bother the human, but to subliminally look at his etheric reality in a spiritual form, like an etheric being form, a sort of an entity, right? You have the ability to think about a human in that etheric reality, about his quote-unquote etheric, his quote-unquote cardinal entity, which is his vitality, his energy, a human's energy, right? So if you look at that as an entity, like, yeah, that could be like a spiritual entity. If you look at it as like in a spiritual entity form, okay, and it's highly intelligent. On top of that, it has photogenic materialistic powers, right? Yeah. So on a manual scheme, to the fact that it's the chemistry of a cardinal being, just like you could just sit here and think about another kind of being, yeah, but it won't have a manual scheme. As soon as you get outside of this scheme, you getting off into something else, a whole nother concept of a being in which you can have the thought, but you want to look at what's appealing to psychological normality or our psychological normal mind or the psychological mind. Because you manual scheme, that tangibility, the touching thing, that the scheme, humans growing off of energy, more energy, you bigger, the cultivational concepts behind it. And then if you look at like an energy being, an etheric being, okay, so an etheric being. So it's outside of the cardinal world now. What is it doing? It kind of makes you wonder. So it'll have to adapt a sub-cardinal scheme. You know what I'm saying? So you have an all energy being, but it could really feel without a cardinal aspect of it. Okay, so let's put that in a sub-cardinal scheme. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the number one manual